Hi friends, welcome to the channel JV and CIV Made Simple. So this is our English video session. Already I have started the video series for English in English. Okay, and this is our unit number 5. The topic is facilities for exporters and importer. We are going to discuss the theory portion of this particular unit. So let's begin with. These are the topic which we are going to study, and there are almost 12 topic, right? Lastly we will see some case studies also. So there are 12 topic, and we will cover 3 topic in a particular video. So it will take 4 part to complete the entire syllabus, entire chapter. So today we are going to discuss the objectives of this exporter and facilities. What are the objectives of the unit? We will discuss the introduction part. We will discuss the exchange and trade control guideline, that is called very important topic, ECG, okay, for exporter. And also we will discuss facilities for exporter. What are the facilities, what are the remittance connected with the export? So these 3 topics which we are going to cover in this particular session. So without wasting our time, let's begin with the first topic, that is key points on regulatory and institutional framework of trade, finance and foreign exchange in India. So let's begin with. So if you have ever wondered how India manages its international trade and foreign exchange, this particular slide will break it down for you in the simplest way possible. We are going to talk about key organizations like DGFT, RBI, and how they regulate export and import trade in India. First up, the big player. The big player is the DGFT and the RBI. Right. So think of DGFT as the boss of the international trade. Who is he? He is the boss of what? Of international trade. Right. And it is a part of the Ministry of Commerce. So it is a part of Ministry of Commerce and handles the rules and policies for how goods comes in and go out of India. On the other hand, the RBI. You know what is RBI? RBI is the India Central Bank. It manages everything related to the foreign exchange. It manages everything related to the forex, right? So it is manages everything related to foreign exchange, like how we pay for import, how we earn from export under the FEMA regulation, right? So let me give you an example to make this more clear. So you can think of DGFT like a traffic police. You can think of DGFT like a traffic police who set the rule for where vehicle can go. And here vehicle means what? Here vehicle means export and import. Here vehicles means export and import. So this DGFT acts like a traffic police who set rule for where vehicle can go. That is where export and import can happen. Whereas you can think of RBI like a bank which makes sure that driver have enough fuel. So you can think of RBI as a bank which makes sure that driver have enough fuel. And here fuel means money. Right. So this way you can differentiate both these big players, that is DGFT and RBI. So if we talk about the governance is by DGFT under the Ministry of Commerce and FEMA regulation RBI. Now let's come to the second topic. So export trade. The DGFT makes the policy that exporter need to follow. The DGFT decide what goods can be exported, what the process looks like. And the RBI helps the exporter get financing so that they can be competitively globally, essentially making sure exporter have enough money to sell their good overseas. So you can think of it like this. Suppose you picture you are running a business. So suppose you are running a business, okay, that export handmade jewelry. So this business export handmade jewelry, okay. So the DGFT tells you the legal way to export it. What is the legal way to export it? What is the legal way to export the handmade jewelry? So the DGFT tells you. While what RBI does? So RBI makes sure you get a loan. RBI makes sure you get a loan or you get a financial help to keep your business going. Again I am repeating, you can think of it like a business. So the DGFT tells you the legal way to export your jewelry, while the RBI provides you help to get a loan or financial help to keep your business going. That is what have been explained in this particular slide. I have given you an example of jewelry to make the concept more clear. Now let's come to that was regarding the export trade. Now on the flip side, for import trade, DGFT manages the policies. Right, DGFT manages the policy for bringing goods into India. DGFT makes sure that what we import align with our country needs, like preserving foreign exchange and promoting new technology. Meanwhile, the RBI mandates RBI manages how we can pay for these imports through foreign exchange, again through FEMA guideline. So let's say you want to import the latest tech gadget. So suppose, let me give you an example regarding this import. Suppose you want to import latest tech gadget. Okay, so in this case DGFT ensure that this process benefit, this import process benefit India tech industry, right? While the RBI control the foreign exchange. What RBI do? RBI control forex, so you can make international payment easily. So this is how both of them have a role to play in either export trade or import trade. Now let's come to the next topic, that is trade and exchange control. So the RBI main job is controlling how foreign exchange is used, which is done through the FEMA 1999. This ensures that we don't overspend our forex reserve. We don't overspend. So this overspend has to be eliminated. Now DGFT work alongside with them with its foreign trade policy, that is FTP, which regulates the actual international trade. Imagine we are managing our household budget. You can think, I'm giving an example. So imagine you are managing your household budget. So FEMA is like making sure we don't overspend. FEMA makes sure that we don't overspend, while DGFT make rule about what product we bring into our house, right? So this is how both can be differentiated. Now let's talk about the export financing. Exporter often need financial help to compete globally. RBI provides guideline that makes it easier and more affordable for exporter to get credit, ensuring that they can continue selling their goods overseas, right? So who takes care of all these things? RBI takes care of the export finance. Now let's talk about import guideline. Import guidelines are also very crucial. The DGFT policy ensure that import don't harm the economy. I have already told you, the DGFT ensure that the import don't harm the economy. Plus, to make international trade smoother, the organization like ICC, ICC is International Chamber of Commerce. It provides guidelines like UCP 600, Incoterms 2020, which standardize global trade. So that's the role. So this is just the introduction part. I am providing you a glimpse of all the things which we are going to cover in this particular unit. And now the next topic is FIDE. So the FIDE, what is the full form of FIDE? Foreign Exchange Dealer Association of India. So it ensures that the foreign exchange transaction follow the best practices, all under the supervision of RBI. And when it comes to trade, authorized dealers are responsible for making sure that no banned or restricted goods are traded without proper approval. So you can think of authorized dealer as an official gatekeeper who ensure that everything passing through them follow the rule. So to summarize what we have covered till now, the DGFT and this RBI, it works hand in hand to regulate trade and foreign exchange in India. From creating policies to controlling how money flow across border, they ensure that India trade remains strong and competitive. So if you really like this breakdown, don't forget to like the session, subscribe the channel, and also friends, if you want this type of lecture in English for all the subjects, so we have already started our English video. You can WhatsApp me on this number to get more detail. Now let's come to the next point that we have, that is the key points on exchange and trade control guideline for exporter. So in this slide we will be discussing the essential guideline for Indian exporter, focusing on the codes, forms and regulation you need to follow. So first up is the IEC. IEC means what? Importer Exporter Code. So if you want to get into the export import trade, having an IEC number is mandatory. Think of it like a passport for international trade. Without it you can't really operate legally. So you need to get this code from whom? You need to get this code from DGFT, Directorate General of Foreign Trade. And if you are exporting service, you also need registration cum membership certificate, that is called RCMC. So first thing you need is IEC, which is mandatory, and the second thing is you if you are exporting, you need RCMC from SEPC or FEIO, right? So SEPC means what? Service Export Promotion Council, and FIO means what? Federation. Let me write down the definition, full form: Federation of India Export Organization, that is called FIO, Federation of India Export Organization. And now for software exporter, so till now we have discussed regarding this. Now for software exporter, they have to register with the Software Technology Park of India, right? So it's like joining a club. Whether you are exporting service, goods or software, you need to be registered member of the right organization to play by the rule. Now the next question is how to use this IEC number. Once you have the IEC number, you need to use it everywhere. It's your unique identification code for all your export related paperwork. So this IEC number is a unique identification code for all your export paperwork. So every time you make an international trade declaration or fill out form, make sure that your IEC is mentioned. Once you have the IEC number, you need to use it everywhere. It's your unique identification code for all your export related paperwork. So every time you make an international trade declaration or fill out form, make sure your IEC is mentioned, right? Now next come is export declaration forms. So keeping it legal, let's talk about export declaration form. According to the FEMA, that is Foreign Exchange Management Act, every exporter has to declare what they are exporting. So main thing is what are being exported, what they are exporting. So this you have to mention, right? To make sure that receive the full value of the goods and service within a specific time. So there are two key forms you need to know about. The first form is EDF form. So this is for all physical goods. So remember the keyword is physical goods, right? So this is for all physical goods except software. And the second form is Softex form. So if you are exporting software that is not in physical form, this is the form you will use. Imagine you are exporting a batch of textile to Europe. So if you are exporting a batch of textile to Europe, so you need to fill EDF form. And if you are sending a software service online, you would go with Softex form instead. So let's summarize what we have covered. So first of all, get your IC number if you are getting into export business. Second thing is make sure you registered with the right council like SEPC, FIEO or Software Technology Park, okay, depending on what you export. And the third thing is always declare your export using the correct form. Either it is EDF form for goods and Softex form for software. So three things we have covered, right? Now let's come to the next part, that is the key points on the export declaration form and exemption. So we will talk about we will be focusing on export declaration form, specifically the EDF form and the various exemption you need to know about as an Indian exporter. First let's talk about the EDF. What is EDF? Export declaration form. So if you are exporting goods, you no longer have to deal with the old GR form. So this GR form has been eliminated, and instead you will be using EDF or export declaration form at the custom office that uses the EDI system. So you know there are some custom office which uses EDI system, and at those custom office you have to use this export declaration form. Now let's discuss how it works. So first thing first, when you are ready to export, you submit the EDF form in the duplicate. You submit this EDF form in duplicate along with your shipping bill to the commissioner of the custom. So you submit this EDF form in duplicate with the shipping bill to the commissioner of the custom. The custom office checks and verify your detail and give you an authenticated exchange control copy of the EDF. Then this copy is super important. You will need to submit it to your authorized dealer, basically your bank, and you need to submit this copy, that is called exchange control copy, to your authorized dealer, that is your bank, for foreign exchange purposes. So you can think of this EDF form like your boarding pass for export. You submit it to the custom. I'm just giving an example. So this EDF form, you can think of it like a boarding pass, right? So what you did for export, this is a boarding pass. You submit this EDF form to the custom, and they give you a stamp copy that let you complete the next step, that is getting paid or handling foreign exchange. So giving this EDF form to the custom is super important, because after you provide the EDF form to the custom office, they will provide you a stamped copy in the exchange, which is called exchange control copy, which you will submit in your authorized dealer to get your work done. Now let's talk about the exemption from the export declaration form. See, now let's go into the part that every exporter want to know, that what you don't have to declare. There are quite a few exemptions where you don't need to fill out the EDF form. Here are the key one. The first thing is trade samples and the publicity material, so that you send out free of charge, no declaration is required. Next thing is if you are traveling, your personal belonging are also exempted from the form. Next thing is ship stores and the transshipment cargo. Basically, what is transshipment cargo? Basically, good transferred between ships. So, and the item for military, naval, or air force use. So you did not declare all these things. If you are sending out gift up to 5 lakh, you don't need to worry about filling of EDF. Then the aircraft part that need repair and will be re-imported within 6 months, okay, also qualify for the exemption. Remember these things, these are super important, because the exemptions are asked every year. And now the next thing is goods that were imported for free. Earlier it was imported for free but need to be re-exported. So such as let me give an examples, like defective goods are there, loan goods are there, right? And if you are exporting replacement goods, see, one thing is goods imported free of cost and re-exported, and the second thing is replacement good. So if you are exporting replacement good at no charge under the foreign trade policy, there is also exemption. So replacement good exported free of charge under the foreign trade policy. And the next thing is goods sent abroad for testing and repair. So if you send good abroad for testing and repair, as long as they will be sent back to India, they don't need an EDF either. And lastly, any export that are allowed by the Reserve Bank of India under a special condition don't need to follow these declaration. So imagine you are sending a bunch of sample t-shirt to potential customer for free, you won't need to fill out the EDF. Or say you are sending a plain part abroad for repair, as long as it come back within 6 months, you are exempted from the process. So to wrap it up, first of all, what we have discussed that using the EDF form while exporting goods under DDI system, and don't forget to submit it to your bank after custom authenticated, okay. And the exemption from free trade sample to goods sent for repair or gift under 5 lakh. If you qualify, you won't need to worry about the declaration form. So hopefully everything is clear now. Under what condition you will not need to declare the EDF form, right? Now let's come to the next part, that is the time limit for export document and payment realization in India. This is what we are going to discuss. So what are the important time limit for submitting export document and receiving payment, and which are key to staying compliant with the regulation? Let's start with the submission of the export document. So once you have made the export, you will need to submit all necessary document, including the duplicate exchange control copy. We have discussed the exchange control copy, which was provided to you by the customs after you submitted the EDF form, right? So what you need to do, you need to submit all necessary document, including ECC, duplicate of the EDF form, okay, within 21 days. Remember this day, this is very important. Within 21 days from the date of export or the Softex certification to your authorized dealer. Obviously we have just discussed that after the custom provide you the exchange control copy, you need to submit it to your AD, and within how many days this has to be done? This has to be done within 21 days after making the export or Softex certification. So remember this key point, very very important. So now what happen if you can't submit them on time? Don't worry, bank understand that thing can go wrong. If the delay is beyond your control, so they can still accept the document even after 21 days. So sometimes it happens that something is beyond your control, so in this case bank can accept it after 21 days if the reason are beyond the exporter control. Like say your shipping document got delayed due to a strike at the port. In such cases your bank can make an exception and accept the document late. Now the next thing we have to discuss is so we have discussed how the submission is all about, taking how much time it takes for submission. And now let's talk about the payment realization. After you export good, you need to make sure that the full payment is realized and brought back to India within 9 months. So remember this keyword, that is 9 months. Earlier we have discussed 21 days and now it is 9 months, okay, 9 months from the date of export. So you have to make sure that the full payment is realized. But there are some relaxation, there are some exceptions. So if your goods are stored in warehouse abroad, suppose your goods are stored in warehouse abroad, you will get more time, up to 15 months to get paid, but you will need RBI permission for this. And the second thing is also, if there is a valid reason for the delay, the RBI or your bank can give you an extension. Let me give you an example to make it more clear. Imagine you exported good to a customer who need time to clear them from a warehouse overseas. So you have exported the goods and this good needs some time to clear from warehouse overseas. So with RBI permission you have 15 month time to get the payment instead of the regular 9 month. So this is how where exception work. And now there is some COVID-19 relaxation. See, during the COVID-19 pandemic, exporter got some relief. For export made up to July 31st, 2020, the payment realization period was extended to the 15th month from the earlier 9 month, which helped exporter cope up with the disruption. Now, let's talk about something called a special economic zone and other unit. So, if you are an exporter from the special economic zone, that is called SEZ, or similar unit like EOU, that is called export oriented unit, or EHTP, that is called electronic hardware technology park, that is called STP, that is software technology park, or BTP, that is biotechnology part. So if you are an exporter from either of these, okay, you have to realize and repatriate the full export value within the 9 month. So the key word here is 9 month, right? And now again, if there is a valid reason for the delay, the RBI or your bank can extend this period. However, the RBI can decide that you need to follow a specific rule or deadline, and if that happens, you will be given a chance to explain your situation. Now let me give an example. Let's say you are exporting electronic part. You are exporting what? You are exporting electronic part from ESTP. You know what is ESTP? We have just discussed that this ESTP is electronic hardware technology park. Okay, and your payment is delayed due to global shipping issue. You can apply to your bank or the RBI for an extension explaining the situation. So now let's to sum it up what we have covered. You need to first thing first, you need to submit your export document to your bank, that is AD, authorized dealer, within 21 days. 21 days, first key point. But late submission are allowed for valid reason. Second thing is that payment should be realized and brought back to India within 9 months from the date of export, with an exception of warehouse export or valid delays. And the third thing we have discussed, that exporter from SEZ, a special economic zone, and other special unit must follow the same 9-month rule, but extension can be granted, right? So this is all we have covered in this particular slide. So friends, if you really think that this kind of lecture really help you, it provides you insight into all the important concepts which we have discussed, so feel free to like the session. And also, if you want to enroll in our course in which each and every video is explained in English, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number to get more detail. Now let's come back onto the next topic, that is various payment method and what to do if you need an extension for the export bill realization. So let's start with what happen if your export payment is not received within the stipulated time, right? Typically you need to get the full export value within 9 months or 15th month in the case of such cases. We have discussed in which case 15 month was there, like we have discussed in the previous session, like in the COVID-19 there was some relaxation given if the warehouse export, then 15 month. So what happened if the export payment is not received within the stipulated time? So in such cases you need to apply for an extension using the ETX form, okay, through your AD, which is essentially your bank. Let me give you an example. So let's say your overseas customer is experiencing delay and you want to receive the payment within 9 months. You simply submit the ETX form to your bank to request more time. And remember, bank keep track of the overdue payment and will follow up to ensure you are paid. And now next thing is the accepted payment method for exporter, that is a prescribed method for payment. First thing first, now let's move on to the different way you can receive payment as an exporter. According to the Foreign Exchange Management Act, Regulation 2016, that is manner of receipt and payment, you can receive your payment through a different method. First, bank draft, pay order, credit to exporter bank nostro account, inward remittance. These are commonly used method to transfer fund internationally. Then we have inward remittance method, like inward remittance. This is where your money directly sent to your bank account from abroad, and you can also receive foreign currency note or traveler check. Then next thing is payment from FCNR, through FCNR, foreign currency non-resident account or NRE account. And next thing is, if you are sending product online or overseas, you can accept payment through international credit card for overseas sale. Indian rupees can be used for transaction with resident of Nepal and Bhutan. And lastly, if you are in gem and jewelry business, right, operating in SEZ, you can receive payment in gold, silver, platinum, as long as this is agreed upon the contract. So suppose you are exporting to Bhutan, you can get paid in Indian rupees, making transactions simpler without dealing with currency conversion. Now here is some interesting thing. Let's see the interesting thing. Here is some interesting thing. In certain exceptional case, like you can see, in certain exceptional case, your bank might allow direct payment in the form of check and demand draft, right? Or other method if you have a good track record as an exporter. This flexibility can be really helpful for long-term export who have proven reliability. If you have been exporting for years without any issue, your bank might accept direct payment through check or DD, making process faster and easier. So to sum it up, what we have covered in the previous slide, that if your payment is delayed, first point is, if the payment is delayed, you have to apply for extension using the ETX form, first thing. Second thing, payment can be received from using various methods like bank draft, like foreign currency, like international credit card, and in special cases, exporter with a good track record can use direct payment like checks and DD, right? Now let's talk about Asian clearing, very important topic we are going to touch now. So we make we make trade finance. So now we are going over the various payment method and trade settlement where when exporting to different country, right? Okay, so ACU, you know what is Asian Clearing Union? It was established on December 9, 1974 with its headquarters in Tehran, Iran by the United States Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific, that is called ESCAPE. It was established by ESCAPE in 1974. The primary goal is to facilitate multilateral payment among member country, to economize on foreign exchange reserves and transfer cost, and to promote trade. So ACU uses what type of currency? Question can be asked. ACU dollar, ACU euro, ACU Japanese yen, which are equivalent to 1 USD, 1 euro and 1 JPY respectively. So this is the currency denomination. And now these currency are non-denominated but used for practical purposes. Now who are the member country? Bangladesh, remember this is asked, which is not a member country. Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Nepal, Bhutan, Iran and India. So export proceed from ACU member country must be settled in either of these three currency, and the payment are processed through a separate account maintained by the authorized dealer for each currency to distinguish ACU transaction. Now let's discuss some key points on trade settlement and payment method. So first of all, let's talk about Myanmar. When exporting goods or services to Myanmar, trade settlement can be done in any freely convertible currency. So this is the key point, any freely convertible currency. This means currency like the USD, currency like the USD, currency like the Euro, currency like the JPY. Additionally, Myanmar also uses ACU mechanism, that is Asian Clearing Union mechanism, for trade settlement. Let me give you an example. Suppose you are exporting textile. You are exporting textile to Myanmar, right? And now you can get paid in USD. You can or settle through ACU mechanism, whichever suits your trade term. Now exception for trade with Nepal. Next we have Nepal, which has a slightly different system. So for export to Nepal, you can receive payment in Indian rupees, right? Now, making things simpler as there is no need to convert the currency. However, if permitted by the Nepal Rashtra Bank, you can also receive payment in freely convertible foreign exchange like USD or Euro, but not through the ACU mechanism, right? So as for example, you are exporting pharmaceutical to Nepal. Suppose you are exporting pharmaceutical to Nepal, you can get paid in Indian rupees directly, but if Nepal Rashtra Bank allow it, you might receive USD or you might receive Euro for the transaction. When it comes to Bhutan, right, when it comes to Bhutan, the process is pretty straightforward. Just like with the Nepal, payment for export to Bhutan can be received in Indian rupees. So if you are exporting agriculture machinery to Bhutan, you can easily settle the trade in Indian rupees, avoiding any complication with the currency exchange. Now let's come to Iran. See, try to understand. Now let's cover Iran. For eligible goods and services, you can receive payment in any freely convertible currency, and according to the Reserve Bank of India guideline, for eligible goods and services. This is the key point. And for other goods and services that don't fall under the eligible list, so there is a list which laid down the eligibility, and if the goods fall beyond this eligible list, payment must be made in freely convertible currency like